money part also is a motivator because you're looking at a gestation period which is quite long for getting some revenue out of the cashew crop. If you're looking at reducing the cost of cashew and the byproducts that come with it, what is the motivation to a farmer to go and focus on or invest into protection of that plant? That does not come, right? So I think the mentality and the kind of approach that we look at.
The mentality of the farmer needs to be changed.
Absolutely.
Because they are having a tree previous 30, 40-year back. Now they are on the extinct stage.
Absolutely.
Those need to be replanted first so that we can support the cashew production.
Absolutely.
But slowly, what will happen over the period of time if they are not replanting it, then land will become a barren land. And slowly, people will start selling the land.
No, and now GFTC has taken the initiative of that. And one more, this as per the sapling, quality saplings are being we produce in our nurseries. And now the situation is such that people come to our nurseries to purchase our saplings, which are of seed origin, rather than go for grafts, because they waste out of it. So there is a demand for that also now. It's slowly building up.
Great. Thank you so much for your question.
Motivation with the farmers.
Yeah.
Message is very simple. Make the farming profitable.
Profitable.
So and this was the case with the monoculture. Wherever you go, single crop growing, and my suggestion is multiple crop growing. Include the multiple crop growing along with apiculture or some kind of additional source of income. So when the farmers see the income only, then only get
they will.
Apart from that, see this yield reduction is it depends upon so many factors, abiotic and biotic factors, and so many things. Issues are there, but so we have to revive the system. Then only the farmers will get interest, and rather than the monoculture, you can switch over to the multi-cropping system with the apiculture and all those things. So definitely the cashew farming will be profitable.
The second question is, when the cashew production, the local farmer which are being there, they are directly going to the middlemen. So what can be done? Because they are normally being exploited by the middlemen.
Yeah, that was the first step which has already yielded results.
Yeah.
Last year, the cashew seed had dropped to 103 rupees per kilo.
They are going.
And if you have been to the function, inaugural ceremony yesterday,
Yesterday I miss
yeah, okay, then you don't know about it. The thing is that this year, GFDC started buying cashew from our orchards, which usually is to go to the other industries. And at the beginning of the season itself, we announced our price, and we said we are fixing it 140 rupees. Now the market rate is 165 rupees.
65 rupees, yeah.
So that is a big step, which is because of GFDC. Because otherwise, farmers were very despondent about what rate they are going to get this year, because over the years the rate has been dropping. 4 years ago it was 160 rupees. Last year it had come down to 103 rupees. And now at the beginning of the season itself, they raised it to 165. So that is one, this GFDC has taken the task to regulate the market rate. So next year also we'll be matching the market rates.
Okay, sir.
Great. Thank you so much for the question. And yes, Nandakumar sir, if you want to share.
Regarding the decline in the yield with respect to the Goa state, actually there was yesterday 2 sessions where took place. Actually, we have organized, and in the first session it was covered challenges and our this one means what are the states have taken the initiatives. It was a very good discussion yesterday was took place actually, and in that all these topics, that is climate change, how we can improve with the new varieties, high density plantings. Everything has been discussed. Even CSR, that is crop shoot and root borers, how to control it. Means all aspects. Yesterday, it was covered in both the sessions. Second thing, my question to Mahadev Swamiji, that as you said that your crop domain products. Goa is facing a problem with CSR and tea mosquito. These are the two major pests in Goa. As you said that the life cycle of CSR is also almost 8 months, and it may extend to 1 year also. So most of these Goa's cashew orchards are in senile stage, and our GM and our Dr. Sarmukadam said already that our peoples, means our new generations, are not coming forward for taking up the plantations, means in with the modern technique, by using modern techniques and all. And because of this, plantations are, means their age are increasing, and here this CSR enters crop, this shoot and stem growth. So my question is how this product will become effective in controlling this particular two pests. And one more thing is that there is one more weed, Eupatorium weed. If you see the all crop orchards all over the Goa, this is the major problem what the farmers are facing for cleaning and all. Here the crop production means the cost of cultivation is also increasing. So how it will be benefited to this, because our Goa soil is a laterite soil. And second thing, most of the cashew orchards are established, you can see on these slopy areas and less productive areas, means less productive soil.
Yes, sir. Sir, as I told earlier also, first we were diving into the development of the product. First we will understand the biology aspects. So why biology is important, whether the plant or the insects, both are very important. And what we are doing is we are providing kind of customized solutions for the particular geographic regions. And we are very much interested, crop domain is very much interested to isolate the novel microbes from this region, especially utilizes for the bioformulation development for the tea mosquito bug or the cashew stem borers. So when why the pest infestation is the major issue, because there are so many things. So primarily because of the lower photosynthetic efficiency, science aspects I am talking. So when the less photosynthetic efficiency will be there, you might know the Brix level, that is the sugar content in the sap of the leaf. So it determines the and it attracts the pest to attack. And these are the few things. So we have to fine tune. As I told, so we cannot provide a certain kind of generic kind of medicines. Say for example, if you get a fever, the doctor will suggest you go take any paracetamol tablet, something like that. It should not happen with these pest aspects, because the pests are so specific and we are providing the species specific solutions. And we are trying with some of the cashew growers in Puttur region as well as the Mangalore coastal part of Karnataka, and some part in the Deccan part where the dryland cultivation was similar to this Goan climatic situation. So for that we have not used the different kind of the microbes or the bioformulations. So we have developed the kind of the bioformulations particular to that geographic region. So in that angle, we are very much open to taken up that research, and we are very much interested to do a kind of work towards the pest management as well as this thing. And one more thing, we have asked for the weed aspects, and we do have some of the bioherbicides. We can do testing on the for that weed control also.
Thank you so much. I think paucity of time, we will have to curb this session. Yes, if we can have this quickly.
Is there any chances to increase the yield by carbon?
Hello. Is there any is there any chances to increase the yield by carbon charging?
We can do that one. by using the different kind of the additionals including the biochar as well as the soil amendments, increasing the carbon score, we can upgrade the yield and
Because
quality
there
aspects.
is a lot of discussion regarding old plants around 30 years old or 25-year-olds. So I'm thinking about that we can make.
See, that is the main, it is the what we call it as an unintended ecological shift. So what will happen is the cultivar, it failed to form the microbial formation, or its capacity is reduced. So in such cases, the yield will be reduced. And the message is very simple. When the plant is fed with the nutrients, why it has to feed again the microbes? That question will come. So in that angle, addition of soil amendments, definitely carbon we can increase. And that carbon storage is very important aspects with respect to the microbial aspect, microbial activity as well as the growth of the plant, yield,
Yes.
pest, so many issues.
I request to GFDC to look into that. And another is that is there any chances to control the pest by border pest? Border pest.
Border pest. Border.
Border pest.
Pest are the border mixture.
Border pest.
Yeah, I know that. So, say that is the thing. Say we have in conversation with so many the farmers before the prior formation of crop domain. What we did is we understand what is the farmer's necessity first by formulating the a lot of questionnaires. What is their necessities? What is their needs? And what is their aspirations? See, a lot of the farmers they are saying, "Sir, I use the biopesticide. I will put the biofertilizer. I will use the biostimulant. I use the soil amendments, sustainable, smart, safe. Everything is done, but nothing is happening because it's what we call it as a greenwashing. I simply call it as a greenwashing. The people simply brand it with the diluted chemical, rebranded, renamed chemicals or the diluted microbes with no proof or the no this thing. So this is happening, and the farmers has to be very aware of this. So when he is going to use for the biological control solutions, he can demand for what is the strain, what is the mode of action, what is the carrier material, and all those
Yeah.
stuff.
So we have to look into that. We can make by that your way or our way. Okay, thank
Sir,
you.
definitely we can revive the cashew production system in Goa, and it requires the multi-dimensional approach rather than the multi-dimensional approach with the modern science with the traditional system. So what we can do is we can integrate the climate resistance, organic and tech interpreted measures, and thereby we can revive the legacy of the cashew crop, not as a crop but as a proud tradition to next generation.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Madhav. And I think with one startup on the panel, we have come up with so many different ideas and solutions. I only urge all of us present here today to discuss more about the cashew crop, to discuss more because these closed room discussions will help a lot of farmers get better yield, get better revenue, look at this as a revenue source, and of course consider that cashew could be the next big thing for the farming industry. I thank everyone on the panel for joining us today and sharing their valuable insights. I thank all of you for being patient, as I mentioned, on a Sunday morning and listening to us and asking questions that were so relevant to the panel. The panel members will stay back, I believe, for some time. And if you have any specific questions that you could not get answers to, I would request you to approach the panel later. Thank you so much, and over to you, Abhishek.
With this, we conclude the first technical session of the day. And we extend our sincere gratitude to all the speakers for making the session a great success. And now I request Sri Nandakumar Parab Sir, IFS, Managing Director, Goa Forest Development Corporation, to present a memento to our speakers as a token of love. So, Abhishek Singh. Sri Pradeep sir Mukta. Dr. Mahadev Devas sir. Shri Amar Ablekar sir. Thank you, sir. I request for group photograph. Somebody sir, please come. Thank you. I thank all the participants. Hope you gained the valuable knowledge and made important connection during the session. Thank you. Participants, please come. Come and have a seat in the front. Participants, please come. Sit.
सर कॅमेरा फाटलाय चाचू किती काढून मागे सांगितलं ते काढ ते हांगात लाईन कर रावपाचें ऑफिसात हांगा लाईन करून रावपाचें
With no time, let's start the second session of the day 2. I welcome all the panelists. I welcome our first speaker and the moderator of this session, Mr. Payman De Silva from Aniek Feni.
Check. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for showing up on a Sunday morning when you would be having coffee for something which draws you because of your interest for Feni. Without much ado, let's get started and we've got a wonderful panel to discuss the future of Cashew Feni and also the past. So that's why we called it Back to the Future. Feni was very, very legitimate, popular, right up there with the best of drinks at one point in time, and then it went down. So we have to explore that. Why it went down, how it went down, how to elevate it once more. So let's start. The first person whom we have is Mr. Anand Shirodkar. Anand is revolutionary insofar as he comes from a background who owned a liquor shop in Kandoli, went out to start his own bar, which is a small little dive bar, which really made waves because he stuck to his roots in terms of the liquor he served, how he served it, the music he played over there, the snacks he served, all of that. And today he's got a second outlet called Bar Cold Drinks in Okasai, and the first one, Pablo's in Badem. He got sued actually by somebody else who also had a bar called Escobar, so that's why he had to change it to Pablo's. So everybody says, where is the other Escobar? There is only one Escobar we know, and that's Anand and Terence's Escobar. So hats off to Anand for doing that. And also a man of wide and varied interests. He went to Berlin, worked in a bar over there. So the design level also that he brings to his properties is extremely international. You know, if any of you all visit it, you all must, and you'll see it. Okay. Mr. Mahesh Korgaonkar is on his way. Please excuse us. He'll join us in a little while. The next person we have is Kasturi Banerjee. Kasturi. Another rock star in the alcohol firmament. She founded Makazai single-handedly, I must say, and has worked to take a brand where she's now exporting her rum to England and other places. Extremely driven, focused. And why is a rum maker on a Feni discussion? Because I feel there has to be a cross, we don't want inbreeding, so to speak. We have to spread our wings and see what other people are doing, learn from them, they learn from us. There has to be a synergy in this front. That's what brings Kasturi to our midst today. And the last of, there's one person who needs no introduction, but having said that, I'm still going to give you an introduction. Somebody who's really elevated Feni to national consciousness and is now taking it to international consciousness. Third generation involved in the Feni, in the alcohol business, Mr. Hansel was. So the spirit of today's discussion is, of course, all of y'all are here, everybody is free to join in, but everybody knows each other. It's a discussion between friends as to how we can take Feni up there. It hasn't got its place. And we'll start off with, let's define Feni. I'm going to ask each of the panelists to give us their definition of Feni. We'll start with Anand.
Hello. Hi. So I'm going to keep it very, very simple. For me, Feni is our heritage and culture blended in one drink. That's all I'm going to say. That's what Feni means to me.
Kasturi.
I think Goa and Feni are synonymous, so Goa, Feni, Goa for me.
I think it's probably South Asia's best kept secret. We have spirits from every continent that is actually showcased to the world. You have Europe has many spirits. South America has cachaça, piscos, a lot of spirits. North America has bourbons, Tennessees, Canadian whiskies. Southeast Asia has quite a lot. Sake, sochu, labanog, arak. And I think the last spirit, probably the best kept secret, is actually Feni. What makes it very interesting is the unique process. There's no process like ours. Very small geography, so it's limited supply, which means you got extra pricing factors. And also, there's no big spirit coming out of India. And it's probably the most evolved spirit coming out of India. So I think it's, you cannot say there's no one-line definition. To each his own. There are a lot of layers to it, and depends how you look at it. From businessmen, they look at it great money. From people who are entrepreneurs, they say great potential. For people like us who've been working on it, you wonder why you got into this industry, because all my money has gone into this brand.
But having said that, Hansel, I would still request you to distill the essence of Feni, because Feni means so many different things. Like the story of the elephant. Somebody said, what is an elephant? And these are 6 blind men. It's the leg of the elephant, which is like a tree trunk, tail of the elephant, which is like a rope, different things. So if we just, at the end of the day, when we put it out there, to, let's say, the general public, and somebody asks you, what is Feni?
So I've had a lot of, we've been doing a lot of work internationally and nationally as well. There are 2 big questions that come to me. First of all, when it comes to nationally, they first of all they think Feni is a drink. Feni is not a drink, it's a process. So you can make Cashew Feni from that process, you can make coconut Feni from that process. But it's also not a process only. You ask a local, a Goan, he'll say Feni is not a process. Feni is a qualification. The Feni ata
then it is a feni. Feni ina earlier, it's not a feni. You need to have those bubbles, the froth, then it is a feni. So suddenly you're making a very subtle difference. Goans are looking at feni as a process, as a qualification. Indians are looking at feni as a drink, which is from of cashew only. And internationally, they think it is some very exotic thing. Especially from Japan, like we're getting from somebody from Lithuania is in touch with us. They are very intrigued that India has come out with a very unique spirit made out of cashew. It's like a schnapps for them. And they're like, how did India even dream about it? And that is, so each perspective is different. And so it's very important that we get these definitions right. And that's where we come to the first point in the GI, because these are going to be created. No. So I'm saying this is where, if you want to know what is feni, the GI definition keeps that together. Simply because it means so many things to so many people, and everyone will define it separately.
So I understand what you're saying, Hansel, but at the same time, I'm asking for a layman's definition. If you meet an Eskimo and he tells you, this is my drink which I make out of whalebone soup, and what is your drink? And you say feni, and then he says, what is that? You can't talk to him about GI tag and etc. Ask you to distill the essence of feni into that line. And you're the man best suited to this task.
He's putting me in a spot, but
no. Because you have the broad overview.
I made a definition for the GI for feni with coconut feni, not for cashew, because cashew is already defined. Feni, if you're asking for a person what is feni, it can only be distilled in Goa. That's the definition number one. Within the political boundaries of Goa, it has to be double distilled or more, but not less. Has to be double distilled. It has to be made in a pot still, out of copper, nothing else. It which is a unique fact is that it has to go through wild yeast fermentation, not cultured yeast, because it's very cultural sensitive to use cultured yeast. And the last thing is, it should be aged in a glass carboy or a wooden barrel. That's the GI definition, and that's what everyone should know.
So that is the GI definition. Thank you, Ansel. We'll come back to it. We're not going to let him get away with this. I'm still looking for a one-line definition, but now we have to move forward. So now what's happened is, as everybody knows, in Goa, feni at one time was a very elitist drink. The Badkar had his munkars who made the feni. He brought his feni stock, gave the Badkar his share. The Badkar aged it in lovely glass garafaus, of which Ansel has a collection of more than 2,000 now. And feni was appreciated and respected. Somewhere along the way, feni fell into disrepute. It became thara. People who came here drank feni and said, "Kya hai yaar?" People are puking and headache and plastic bottles. All this nonsense happened. So So I want to ask each person, each of our panelists, as to what led to the downfall of feni. The reason we ask this is, if we understand why it went down, we can make sure, one, it never happens again, and secondly, we know what we have to do to correct that. So again, we'll start with Anand. What led to the downfall of feni?
Okay, so everybody is from different parts of the feni processing at this point, and also the ecosystem of feni. As a bar owner, I feel like mostly it was the mindset for a very, very long time. But thankfully, festivals like this are changing this mindset. Last year we were talking about feni being a poor man's spirit. Now, obviously, with shifting trends, that's not it anymore. Things are moving upwards, which is great. One obviously was the mindset for me was the biggest challenge of how to get people to love our product, to take pride in our product. We are very enamored as Indians. I'm going to make a blanket statement about things coming from international. We think, oh, only they can do it, Oh wow, we should drink this, without having any knowledge of how that spirit is made. But here we see the fruit. We have every opportunity to see it being made, but still we don't take pride in our own things, which I feel gave it a bad repute for a long time. And then obviously there are other factors, but for me this is the biggest factor.
Okay, Kasturi.
I think what sells.
Kasturi, pardon me. Mr. Mahesh Kogakar, Superintendent Excise, and one man who has single-handedly facilitated so much advancement in the feni world.
I think branding, packaging, how it looks. How do you get somebody to like a product is very, very important. Make something good. But how do you explain? I think a few things. I think branding, packaging. I think advocacy is very important. I don't think
No.
we
So
talk
Kasturi,
the distributor.
why do you think it fell into
That's
distribute?
what I'm saying.
Okay, sorry.
Because all these things were not taken
Ah,
care
not
of in the
taken care of.
beginning.
Got it.
I think people don't talk about Fenny as much. You know, with the pride that we talk about any other liquid like a Scotch whiskey or whatever. I think that is most important. I think those less of conversations. Standardization, like I say, I think is there another question on standardization? I put it here.
We come to the GI tagging.
So I think there is different process can be same, but ingredients, timing, all that together. I think branding. I think two parts. I think talking about Fenny has not happened much, and I think it's not been packaged so well so that people or the world can see.
So a lack of knowledge. When you talk about it, there's knowledge of it. Okay. Okay. So just to bring you up to spec, we were talking about. First, I'm going to ask you for a definition of Fenny, a single one-line definition of what Fenny is, and then why Fenny fell into disrepute. Fenny was a very elitist drink at one point in time, and then slowly it just slid to the bottom of the barrel. Bottom of the, I wouldn't say barrel because barrel is again a nice thing, but it slid down to a very poor taste. Thara, country liquor, people are getting drunk. All of that. So why that happened? So first, your definition of Fenny, sir, in one line.
Fenny in one line can be defined as a heritage drink. If you say nowadays, I heard that it was started in Portuguese regime, but then it was neglected. साध्या कोकणी भाषेन सांगपाचें म्हटल्यार आमी बेवड्यांचे ड्रिंक्स अशें ते इट वॉज जस्ट नेग्लेक्टेड बट एज टायम गोज फेणी has captured its height, and with the latest this event and the corporation, all these days it was not there. So when government thought of doing a Cashew corporation, it come to enlighten, and there were initiative from all the stakeholders to take it to the world as a heritage drink of Goa. We are actually blessed to have this such a good alcoholic drink, wherein I can say it is a God's gift. It is a natural, and we have to take maximum use of this God's gift as a Cashew Fenny.
So why do you think this happened, that from it being a good drink, highly appreciated, went down to Thara, to country liquor? Why did that drop happen? What were the causes for that? The reason being that if we know why it happened, we can make sure it doesn't happen again and we don't repeat the mistakes of the past.
Yeah, normally tendency of any human being, we assume ourselves as I can say advanced, and Fenny was just an local drink, it was considered. So we diverted towards this Scotch and other whiskeys products because it gives us a pride. So if I go in along my friends, I say, today I have a peg of Black Label or Chivas Label, 12-year-old, 18 years old. It gives me a pride. And if I discuss same thing with my colleagues, I said, I had a peg, I had a quarter, I had a bottle of Fenny. So they said, what? Fenny maru nila rahe? Like that. That's what the reason.
That was the reason. Okay. Hansel, over to you.
I look at it from two perspectives. Number one is there are two people involved. Two big groups of people. One is the local Goan. I'm living in my village. I know where I get my coconut Fenny. I know that local producer. There's nothing wrong with that producer. Mr. Anton is making Fenny. I like his Fenny. He's 40 years. Next 40 years at least I'll get my Fenny. At least in the next 20 years I'll get my Fenny. No problem. He'll make it every year, every season. If it's coconut, he'll make it every day. I don't care about Zuam who's sitting in the next village, because Zuam's Fenny is duplicate, they say. So they don't drink that. So Goa lived in a small bubble where my Fenny is good. Mera beta Shah Rukh Khan. Everything is good. Okay. But that was it. We didn't care what happened outside. Now there's another world to it, the commercial world. Commercial world, all of us will understand. A few brand owners here, there's a distributor here. He'll tell you one thing. 15 years ago when I came to this industry, nobody was interested. When I walked into the industry, my father was running the business. Don't misunderstand. Excise at that time was not interested. Forest department did not even care. They didn't even care about this. Agriculture department was only interested in giving subsidies and something else. Bar owners did not even bother. For them, bar managers, for owners said, we don't want to keep Feni because I'm an English bar, I'm better than that. I don't keep Feni. I will not name the restaurant, but one of Goa's top restaurants, top celebrated chefs. When I launched Cashew at that time, said we don't want Feni. I'll not get consumers into my restaurant. There was recently a restaurant who said, run by Suzanne Khan in Panjam, is now shut. They said if you open up Feni, our guests will smell. So this is what we get from bar owners. Bartenders, we don't pay. Feni brands are run by small-time family owners like us. We don't have brand resources of money like Cashew or Pernod to give them, organize foreign trips or give them sponsors. We don't have that money. So why will a bartender push a Feni because he's getting money from another commercial IMFL brand who's got investment, who's got resource? So he said, I'm not going to pour the brand out unless you pay me money. Then you come to the shopkeeper. So bar owner, government in one way, shopkeeper, bar owner, shopkeeper. Shopkeeper, all brand owners will tell you today that they're asking 1 + 1 or 1 + 2. Okay, they want margin. Are maka margin di. No margin, I will not sell your product. They are happy with a beer company giving you 2% margin in Goa. I'm a retailer and wholesaler myself. They're happy with 2% margin from a big liquor company. A Pernod and Cashew will give them 5% and tell them to pick up 1,000 cases. They'll do that. But you tell them to pick up 5 cases of a Feni, they'll say give me 1 + 1. And that is a huge problem. That pushes the brand owners to a big problem. Sorry, I'm not mean to point fingers, but I'm saying government is not interested. This is 15 years ago. Bar owners don't want to keep it. Bartenders don't want to serve it. Shopkeepers is pushing you to the corner. I want 1 + 1. 15 years ago, Mr. Bhakta, myself, and a few other people sat together. We were 5 of us. We sat together and we plotted. The first thing is you have to get excise on board. And I must say, excise is single-handedly changed the industry. Mr. Menin was a commissioner then. He listened to us very passionately. Mr. Bivshet was there. Michael D'Souza was there from finance. They all listened to us. We said we see potential in this becoming. We need your hand. We need your blessings. We don't have money. We don't have influence. We can't give you a promotion. But just listen to us. You will safeguard the interests of everyone. They listened first. And what we did was we used one against each other. So when Menin left, we asked the next commissioner, Baba, he's done this, so you also be good. And next commissioner, we said, do that.
That's politics.
Yeah, so we used a lot of lobbying for that to happen. We got the GI. We went to FDA. FDA was not involved. We got FDA. I was just mentioning earlier, there was qualification for gin, whiskey, vodka. Feni was considered any other spirit. Mr. Bhakta and I were given 3 minutes. Once in 5 years, the government makes an amendment in the FDA for India. Mr. Bhakta and I had to go. We were given 3 minutes. We like belligerent people when spoke for 15 minutes, impassionately telling them, you need to put Feni as a separate category. We did that. So that's the second big thing. We got FDA on board. Now we got the GFDC on board. They are planting cashew trees. 3 years ago, we planted 1,000. Second year, we planted 1,000. This year, with the government's help and involvement, one push. Divyarani didn't have to push a hand. She just had to move one finger. And we got 7,000 plants planted this year. We are rejuvenating production. Then we went to bars. Suddenly, hotels are interested. Now, bartenders are interested. Carl Fernandez, one of the first bartenders to say, yes, I'm going to get into Feni. Then there was Rowan Barbosa. People are now going into Feni. Last part is the shopkeepers. That's the last people. Now, what happens when you get pushed as a brand owner? Then you start compromising. You start compromising on quality. You start inflating prices, giving 1 + 1 just to do sale. All that is detrimental to the industry because in the end, any consumer will tell you what is paramount is not the packaging, it is not the price, it is the liquid inside. When I drink that liquid, is it good quality? And if I am being compromised as a brand owner, I'm going to push the distiller and say, Baba, you remove anything, I'll put it inside, leave marketing to me. And that is not how we build brands. Internationally, India has not been able to stand in any liquid except Amrut, maybe Paul John now, simply because we are not making internationally standard products which are sustained.
So, Hansel, let me, there's 2 diverse opinions here now. one thing we all in agreement with, I think every panelist has voiced this, that our pride in our local spirits has not been there. In our not just spirits but anything, whether it's the Kolhapuri chappal, whether it's a dhoti instead of a pair of jeans, whether it's a topi to protect your head instead of a New York Dodgers baseball cap. We don't have pride in our local products, but I think now with the whole Make it India and everything else, that is coming through and it's building up. You know, that pride in local spirit has to come. It has to be much more. I think we're all in agreement on that. One of the purposes of this discussion is not we just sit down and hear panelists talk, but have a roadmap forward. So each of these things we want to enlist later, so that all of us then, instead of working in our separate silos, are all on the same page and all working towards a common goal. There are many manufacturers here and here on both sides of the stage, and we have to have a common goal. Now, Kasturi was very vehement in so far as packaging is critical. That's one of the reasons we haven't moved forward. And we have Hansel who says packaging is not critical, the product is critical. I throw it open to you guys now. One rebuttal from each of you all, please.
No, I'm not saying the liquid is not important. The liquid is first, primary.
Right.
But on
If you say that liquid is primary, then that's.
No, let me just tell you. You go into a shop, right? There are shop. Look, let's take Vase Enterprises. Okay, beautiful shop, great bottles. Why would I go? I mean, sometimes you go and pick a bottle, right? You go and check. So when I say branding, I think information. What I mean to say, you know, how you put a label, what you write, is super important for today's consumers. Because today I feel people are not only drinking; they want to know what they are drinking. And I think the whole process, like we were saying, how do you encourage people to drink, or how do you introduce the product? I think it's not possible to always talk or meet, and I think the label plays a big role. And I think
The full package.
yeah. I think that's what I said. When I say branding, I said as much as the bottle has to look good and the label has to look pretty, but I think the information is super important. So number one is that. And like I said, if you're that's what, you know, when you see a good label, when you see a lot of information, you actually know the product is good. Because you're confident to put out everything there. This is what I think.
Okay, so back to Hansel, because Hansel says the packaging is not important, the product is everything. Have I got it right, Hansel? I mean, it's not important, but that's what he said.
No, I would say, I mean, if you take the time that I take to make a product, we launched 2 products yesterday. It's taken me 2 years to make it, because you go back and forth, because in the end it's consumer, and you're not looking at one consumer. If I was catering only to Goans, it would mean something. It would be much easier, but I'm catering to national audiences, international audiences. But packaging is key. I mean, I'm also a retailer. If you want, I mean, if you want to buy a car, you're not going to buy a car that is ramshackled or beaten up. You want to pick up something that looks nice. So it takes 2 to tango. You need to dress up well. You also have to have substance if you want to be making an international market.
So we are clear on this. I mean, sorry, please, over to you, Anand.
So yeah, both points make a lot of sense.
Anand?
But branding is super critical for Feni at this point, because if the spirit has to travel internationally, because even at my wine store, I used to notice earlier, Feni was only in random plastic bottles or a gimmicky thing, you know, like it was a weird shape, it was some shape which people wanted, it was just a souvenir packaging, nothing else, even labels were not straight. I'm like, okay, if you're putting in so much effort into making your liquids so good, why can't you take those extra 5 minutes to actually put the label on properly? None of the labels were even uniform. Bottles were not uniform. This cannot happen. If you want to take Feni forward, if you want to be taken Feni seriously in an international market, and you want it to be kept side by side with a rum brand or any other brand, it has to be good. That's the only way. And we cannot copy somebody else's design. We cannot go minimalistic, or we can copy Amsterdam design or something else. No, we have to have something in our roots. And now I'm great. Yesterday, it was so refreshing to see different labels coming out. Like with Goan Ethos, finally. You know, something which we can be proud of.
So, just a question. Overall, the design space in everything, be it retail, physical spaces, be it clothes design, be it textile design, you know, anything has all got elevated. Are we just there, or should we make a concerted pitch in this direction, like, you know, to leap out of orbit and actually, like when we have a category for Feni, if it's Feni, it has to be 42.5%. Also have a design criteria. that it has to pass a minimum requirement in terms
I
of...
don't think too many criteria, too many rules will obviously put restrictions on innovation always.
Good.
But we can have a design language. A lot of countries which we look at who have a certain style, we look at that style. We are like, oh, Japanese style of design, or this style of architecture. We have that potential. We have the people. We have so many young people doing incredible work. We just need one common design language to go out.
But don't you think a common design language would then be a bit boring?
If we don't have any definition, then we'll all be all over the place. We'll never go towards a combined goal.
No. So as you said, right now there is a elevation of design. People are doing good labels, good and bad labels. Let me put it like that. A lot of the labels that existed from 20 years ago, there's been no change. It's still existing in the same place for branding reasons, whatever it is. But to take this packaging, the danger, again, it will go to everybody. How do we make sure that the product matches the package? Right now there's a disconnect for some people, So let it come down. Please, sir.
I will just say that both should go together, because only good shape of bottle or good label that will fetch one bottle in their shelf. Any house that will a single bottle will be in their house. If you go the quality of the product along with the packing, the shape of the bottle, then for example, I heard these days there was one bottle who got a Cashew Feni, who got a gold medal in UK, European, yeah.
Centenary
And it was purely because of the aging. So department is also open with excise policy. We have everything on that, the aging facilities. So actually 800, 900 was the bottle cost initially people were looking for. But they had a good price up to 3,500 for that bottle, and people had that.
Wonderful.
So this can be done. Even our excise policy was to the limited. I am to say that wine definition was only limited to the grape wine. So when someone approached wine of Cashew, we were helpless.
Because there's no policy in place for you to follow. And it
So
can't be
we have to
application.
amend. And what Angel says, yes, the regime of Melinsa. Earlier, any government department, government department use like to see any product which gives us revenue point of view.
Correct.
Cashew hardly gives us revenue of 37 lakhs per year, but we have to spend approximate 1 lakh per year for the procedure of auctioning to pay the rent of the balls and all that.
Right.
All these days it was neglected or because of this factor.
Right. So I understand what you're saying, that the packaging, the product and the packaging is very important. But I think one thing which we are all clear on, that gimmicky packaging, going back to Anand, he should ideally stay away from. People will buy a gimmicky package as a one-off. You'll keep it on display and that's it. But you won't drink it. The liquid is unimportant. You might as well put tea in that bottle and sell it for all the different settings.
I'll just weigh in on this. There's an interesting thing that happened. A case point. Number one, just to reiterate from what Mr. Koregaonkar said, Feni provides 37 lakhs, which is less than 1% of the excise revenue. So we are very small. Even if we double our revenue, it's only 2%, which is negligible. And then that's why we really appreciate departments like excise and GFTC, FTA for now listening to us. A 1% industry is getting disproportionate amount of interest, a festival. And that you must understand, it's huge on their part. That's the first thing. The second thing is, if you want to make a label, if you want to make a brand, number one, there are 3 departments you have to read. God bless you. You have to read excise, you have to read their fine print, which is great because they're one nodal agency we talk to. But suddenly you get bamboozled because FDA will come to you. They've got their set of rules, which is totally different. Okay? And then before you know it, if you got one boomerang coming on the third side, which is telling you, dude, you have to read weights and measures rules. Bloody hell, who are these departments? Suddenly one department walks into your place and says, you have to follow my rules. I don't care about excise. FDA is saying, no, I don't care about these 2. You follow mine. Who's right? Who's wrong? So you can be as excited about designing your label, but you have to first follow departmental procedures. So you cannot go anywhere unless you follow that. I'll tell you one more thing. I decided to put the map of India on my label and show where Goa was, because Goa is a dot. You cannot put a map of India. You need Government of Survey General of India's permission before you can put a map. After 7 years of my brand, suddenly I get my license, my label doesn't get registered. I'm like, what the hell? They're like, no. After two weeks running pillar to post, suddenly somebody tells me, no, you need to get this permission. Who the hell knows the Survey General of India? So what I'm trying to say is that I did it. I mean, they were helpful enough to tell me how to do it, the procedure. But there is a process. So as much as you want to be adventurous and create fancy labels, you have to follow the mandated laws. If we are talking about creating, I totally understand what Anand is talking about, creating a design structure, a set of structure where you can go crazy about, but then you have a structure, like how French wines have done it, or tequila has done that. We need to do that. For that, an association has to go through, and because that's the legitimate way to go through. A person cannot come in out of the street, and you have to go to the excise to make those amendments. That's what we've been doing for 15 years, making amendments with the department, talking to them, telling us what we need.
So as you can see, we are it's a community in growth. Rules are being made as we go along. Like nobody would think that the map was something which was so critical that you couldn't use it. So one of the things which I would again request that we lobby for is that once the label is passed, there should be a process for let's say the excise doesn't approve it until the weights and measures approves it. Then we go step by step. No. Hear me out, because we also got hit by this bamboo on our head when the weights and measures guy showed up and said, "What is this? This is lacking." And we said, "But it's been passed by excise. It's registered. You should have told us before." And once excise passes it, so then it's clear for everybody. So there are no surprises. That you first do FSSAI, then you do weights and measures, and then you go to excise. So there's a process. Here you think all three. You don't even know about the existence of weights and measures, frankly. And suddenly somebody pops up and serves you a notice, and they find us a hefty amount of money for the weights and measures, I must tell you. And it was a fine which was paid per owner. The single owner brands were safe. The multiple brands, for each owner there was a fine for going against the...
So I've got a new notice, very interestingly. So we are registered with FDA. If you don't tell your production, I've been sending production reports very faithfully to the excise department. How much penny we produce, how much bottling fee we pay, we've been doing it. I didn't know I have to do the same thing with FDA. And the fine is 100 rupees per day. I suddenly wake up, I got a huge fine which I now have to negotiate. I didn't even know this, but anyway.
So Hansel, that's very depressing news for us. We all going to be hit by it, Oh God. Anyway, so let's go ahead. So this is what we have to do to safeguard ourselves and to make sure Feni doesn't fall into disrepute. Good packaging, good product, not gimmicky. That is what we are looking at for a customer who walks. Ask for Feni, or you see the bottle and is attracted enough to it to buy, and will discard the black dog or the not the Bombay Sapphire, any of the others. What else can we do you think to take Feni to the mainstream? Let's say within Goa only for the time being. How do we make Feni the drink of choice? Feni was very often at weddings, which is the height. Kaza is the big scene for everybody in every family, every community. And while you drank Feni at home, at the wedding, Feni used to not be served. Now that's slowly changing. But what positive steps can we make to make Feni the drink of choice in the female segment?
No, definitely. I have multiple views on this. But I think the first would be brand collaboration. Bars, I will talk only as a bar owner at this point because we have different panelists who will shed light on their aspect of it. But as a bar owner, I think the biggest thing we can do is brand collaboration. I think we have done it over the past. We have done it with Kazulo, I've done it with Anik, and now we are doing it with Goichi. We have launched a product in collaboration with Goichi, which is a Kokum Feni, right? And why we did this also was because Kokum is a uniting flavor profile in our belt, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Goa, in our belt. So at least it's a uniting factor to get people to try Feni and to make it more and more popular. That's what one thing was. Brand collaborations can be from different sides. Every brand, I'm sure, like Hansel said, oh, we don't have the money like a Diageo. Yes, definitely there is no money. There's not so much money in Feni at the moment, but only once you partner with other like-minded people who are not running after the schemes, who are not looking after that discount, that's the only way you will find like-minded people to come and take it ahead. Otherwise, we'll still be stuck with this discount business, you know. And once you discount your own product, that means you don't respect it enough. And the bigger brands don't care about this because what is the cost of making their product? Basic example of a tequila, I'm not going to name the thing, but it's 27,000 rupees a bottle. People are buying it left, right, and center. How much will it cost to make? The 20,000 maybe just the branding part of it and the marketing, dumping money, dumping stock on people. And what are people doing? They are happily taking it because they, instead of making 500 rupees on a bottle of Feni, they'll make 5,000. You know, that mindset has to change. How greedy can, it's not about greed, obviously it's not greed always. Everyone is here in a business to make money. But can we limit the amount of money we want to make? Can we help certain brands, or can we do a collab with brands?
So I that idea of a collab is very good. You know, I mean, in unity there is strength. So what you cannot pay for, you barter. You know, and I think in that and it doesn't have to be just a two-way collaboration. It can be a three-way, four-way, five-way collaboration. You know, between designer, between product, between retail space, between customs notified shop, duty-free shop at the airport. You know, multiple spaces. Kasturi. So, sorry, sir. Sir, please. Okay. No. So, in terms of this space, what we can do to make it more widely accepted. Like, say, you know, for you, rum is a drink which has. I want you to talk about.
I started about 4 years ago, 2021, and if you realize, 4-5 years ago, everybody was drinking gin. There was a whole gin phase going on, and today I think about 34 gins in India. Number one, I think whatever has started for Feni now, this is the 3rd season of the fest and discussion. I think whatever has started is, of course, good. Number two, I think people like Hansel, you, Anand, you guys have new ideas. You'll have traveled, so I think that kind of helps, because I think people who are in Feni all these days were kind of secluded. They were only thinking of Goa and then, like, you know, my village and my tree and my business is taken care of. I think that part is good. Number three, I think there are new Feni brands which have come, and I think the bottles, the branding, everything is good. I think so. Small steps are being taken. The thing is that you have to continue. You cannot let the ball drop. That has been my, you know, sometimes days are tough, market is bad, no tourists. I mean, there are so many difficulties you face, but you just cannot let the ball drop. You just have to be at it every day, wanting to do it. You just have to do it.
Yeah.
And I just feel, I mean, this is what I really, really believe. You just have to keep doing it. And there will be naysayers, there will be people who will not support, they will be talking bad. Just ignore everybody. And just keep doing what you do.
Thank you, Kasturi.
And do it passionately.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes,
I
sir.
fully agree with Anand and you, Clement, that it cannot be on a barter system. And we can't promote Feni through ek ke upar ek free. That cannot be the concept. It should be some option, more option like that. Cashew industries are already going on with it. Some blending, masala Feni and some
Innovation.
ready to drink. That has also come nowadays, which can give a more option to the consumers, which option. And that can be, if you go with more and more innovatives, that can be give a more action wherein you attract the consumer by taste and not by some barter system or offers like that. So industry is already working hard in this direction. So I hope in course of action, Feni will take one height.
So that is the thing. Innovation is very important, that we continuously innovate. Of course, this also treads on the toes of, we'll come to that, the GI tag and whatever that, we'll come to that a bit later. But now over to Hansel.
So I look at it from, again, two perspectives. We have to grow the industry. If you look at the whiskey industry, let's talk whiskey, because whiskey is the industry as a retailer, wholesaler. If anybody wants to make money, get into whiskey because India drinks whiskey. Okay, nobody's going to drink. Yeah, even if you go to a Feni bar in Panjim, whiskey is his highest selling. I take numbers, I take statistics very seriously. Any bar in Goa who claims to be selling Feni is not selling Feni because they all have bar licenses. If someone wants to open a Feni bar, please take a Taverna license. It costs very cheap, but then you're only going to be selling Feni. That is the true test. Don't call yourself a Feni bar and start selling whiskey, beer, XYZ, because then you're not promoting it. That's one thing. But my point I'm trying to make is two things. If this industry has to grow, we have to grow horizontally by creating more differentiated products, and we have to grow vertically. If you want to understand from a categorizing of Feni is not one drink. Cashew and coconut are pure expressions. You take coconut toddy, distill to coconut Feni, pure. You take cashew juice, you distill to cashew Feni. That is one type, one category, the first category. The second category is the botanical Fenis. As Mr. Korgaonkar said, you have masala Fenis, you have jiren, you have alen, you have dukshiri, you have all these different kind of flavors. These are cashew urak or coconut morop with a botanical. And those are vapor infusions. That's the second category. And the third category is conserva or liqueurs, which is botanical coconut or cashew plus a botanical plus sugar, and that's the third category. There are very clear categories in Feni which have been there. I'm not creating them; they're all there in the excise that have been there from before. Problem is people don't read. But the definition of Feni is very clear. It has to be between 38% and 45%. You cannot go below that. That is very clear. You cannot put physical infusions. You have to do vapor infusions. Very clear rules. It has to go horizontally, but it has to go vertically as well. That is why I know there are some distillers here who are also trying to get the GI, because they are realizing the GI will help you get a vertical increase as well. And that is what the excise wants. Because in the end, Mr. Manish Korgaonkar has to answer to the finance secretary, you're spending this much attention on Feni, how much money you're increasing revenue. And that is why it's important that every distiller starts taking his auction seriously to give more money. Every bottler is actually showing he's actually producing the correct amount and paying the little 3 rupee bottling fee, and every retailer is asking for a VAT bill because we have to increase revenue. So it's very clear that we have to first, if whatever we do, horizontally or vertically, we need to increase revenue. Only then can we go to a bar and say, boss, I have now a structured industry with horizontal growth as well as vertical growth. Now please create an interesting menu that you can actually sell to consumers at a higher price.
So my question to you then, Hansel, is that you have these three very clear categories. Is there space for more? We were talking about innovation.
With coconut there is. With cashew, unfortunately, it's not because the policies are cashew Feni policy is out. The GI is already set. So very little scope for cashew. Almost zero scope for cashew.
No, not scope. Is it important to pursue?
You'll have to start amending everything.
Yeah, but
God bless her.
So leave the physical process aside. Our thing is that we said that innovation is important. By setting the rules.
Innovation within the purview of the rules, existing rules.
But no. So the rules are set with a certain mindset.
Yes.
Okay. Let's step back from this, and what we do is we move to this will be we'll come back to this, but now there's going to be a little bit of dovetailing. The GI tag will bring us to this.
Yeah.
I'm going to put it to each of the panelists again. GI tagging, good or bad, and if so, why?
Yeah. So GI tag, like I'm sure everyone sitting in the audience is also trying to understand what it is as well. The first part of it. Only people who are involved with Feni have some information about it, but nothing is clear to the public audience at all. We just know one thing, when people say about right now the conversation is about agave spirit. Why can't we just call it tequila? And then somebody random knows everything what is happening in Mexico, but has no idea what's happening in Goa with Feni.
Correct.
Yeah?
Correct.
Me as a bar owner, I have no idea what is happening with GI at this point. Right? We're having these conversations, we're having a lot of
It's in an ivory tower.
But what is it? Is it being gate kept among a few people? I don't know what is happening because there is not enough knowledge out there. And I'm sure there are certain stakeholders who want to keep that power with them over time. I'm sure this has happened, and this is India. This happens on a daily basis. People are very, very resistant to change. And this is one big factor what has kept Feni downtrodden for a long time because everyone's used to doing it a certain way. Hey, आम्ही अशात करी दिल्या, अशात करूया. You know, why should we get new innovation? Why should we listen? Oh, this guy is very young. Why should we listen to him? We have more knowledge. You know, your age doesn't give you the know-how and everything. You know, you have to listen to the younger generation, what they are saying as well, what they are bringing to the table. And if we are not going to get everybody involved, we are not going to have an open conversation. This is great, but we cannot have it once a year. We have to have more people coming in and making people aware of what GI is. And I am here actually to understand today what it actually is.
Okay, we'll pass it to my sir. If you could, okay, and answer, your answer was instrumental in formulating
I think
the GI
everybody's,
policy.
yeah, everyone's been waiting for me to answer this question a bit before I came here. But anyway, so let me tell you very clearly. First of all, if you want information on GI, there's a GI registry online. All information is there. Please read it. There are people on this audience who've already read it and have got back. So very clear, there's a GI registry. Please read that. I always tell people, please read, number one. Number two, there's a Cashew for Nifania Association that is available for talk. Anybody can call us up. We call up, we always give the information. Like some people in this audience has called me up. We've given, I'm the secretary, so people call me up. The third thing is we have the excise department. If I am not approachable, you don't have internet to go and check online, please go to the excise. They are in Panjim, not in Ivory Tower. They're close by in Panjim, in a nice building. Please go to them and ask them, Mr. Korgaonkar, there's a Feni nodal officer called Shamba Naik, very approachable, very down to earth. Their doors are open for everyone, so nothing is mystique. You have to find out.
Pardon me. So that is the process.
Process. That's no.
My first question is,
Process.
Good or bad?
Very good.
Okay.
I think it's the best thing to happen, and it needed to be happening for a long time. Why it didn't happen?
There's going to be close
Very good.
line of that end. Yeah. Because here we have somebody who says innovation and we're doing it, and GI tag is not important because it's locking us down, it's forcing us into a very narrow confines.
No.
And here we have somebody who says no, we need that confines.
No, I'm not saying confinement, but don't go by my hair color, okay? So he said that only young people.
He's only 40.
No, I'm only 40. I'm only 40. I've just grown white hair earlier before my age, but and I don't color my hair. But a lot of people think it's a big boys club.
And he doesn't color his fading.
People say big boys club, old gentlemen's club, different. All those things. Boss, is nothing like that. We're a group of 5 guys. We're asking people to join inside. We recently, one audience member has just. I had to qualify for the Feni Association. I couldn't just walk inside. There are rules to follow an association. Association formed way before way before I was even. I was still studying when the association was formed. So I had to qualify for the association. Once you qualify the association, then you're able to do that. So number one, very clearly, anybody wants to apply, please follow the process. There's one gentleman here who very astutely came with all the paperwork, and he's joined the. He's going to be formally inducted next week. But because he's interested in the GI. Now, very clearly, let me explain. If you want to get a GI, I'll break it up for dummies. Okay, simple way of getting a GI. First, you need to have an excise license or the blessings of Mr. Korgaonkar with excise license in your name. You cannot have in uncle's name or somebody else's name. It has to be in your name only. You have to take auction. You can't be a bottler buying bottle of Feni from XYZ. You have to distill yourself. Take auction. Because when you take auction, Mr. Korgaonkar knows how much Feni you're making at the end of season, correct? Yes, once you take auction, I have made 5,000 liters. Please register with the excise. I have taken 5,000 liters. So once you take auction, he knows how much he's making. Then you have to distill. So when you're distilling, your distillation setup has to be according to GI standards. If anybody walks into the farm in Kankorn, or you go to Valpoi, or you go to Perane and see how Feni is made, you will not want to drink Feni. Because there are certain processes to form. And that is what the GI does. Innovation also has to follow rules. We have very clearly said you have to use a pot still, more than twice distilled. It has to be a copper pot. You can't use aluminium coil. You can't use one industrial thing just to crush cashews. Your cashews are spoiled for 2 days and then you're processing it. Boss, this doesn't happen. Because in the end, our credibility is involved. So you have to follow process. Process, if you're a French chef, will tell you process defines product. Process is important. Third thing, once your facility is certified by an independent body, the CAB, the Competency Assessment Board, chaired by the Commissioner of Excise, FDA, Tourism, Feni Association, all Department of Science and Technology, 5 departments come together to independently assess your thing. Now you have to be prepared for someone to walk into your place and start checking everything. You need to have your certificates, food grades, copper grades, all those things have to be ready for that. With your registers, how many cashews you collected, how much cashew you produce. I don't want to be taking all this trouble and somebody fudging books, bringing cashews from Maharashtra and distilling and saying go off any. No, you have to take, that's why you have to take auction. Then once you make your cashew feni, then you have to send it to a bottler. You need transport permit. How much you're producing? You're producing 5,000. I'm transporting 4,500 because 500 liters I gave my friends and family. I've transported 4,500 to X distilling bottling factory. That bottling factory also has to be certified by this CAB. They have to check your processes. Then you will say, I'm going to take 4,500 into bottling. I will make an application, ask Mr. Korgankar for a pass to put 4,500 logos on that. Then I have to give him back bottling fees and bottling thing. Then it becomes a GI thing. Big process. It's not easy.
This process, it sounds frightening to me.
Of course, yeah.
Okay.
This is what Scotch will do, what Mexico will do, everyone will do.
So, in copper vessel, let's just start with something as basic as that. You say that we have to use a copper vessel.
Yeah.
What happens to all the Launi Feni makers?
Of course, Launi is allowed. There's an amendment made to Launi.
There is an amendment.
Yes,
okay.
yes.
So there are. So my point is that if there is something which is not working, there are amendments.
Of course. No. So very good point. See, I'll tell you one thing. This GI was made in 2007, written in 2007. The understanding of GI was very poor. We realized we made it. The people who made it then made it so traditional that modern fellows couldn't do it. Copper coil. So everyone uses copper coil. Forget aluminium coil, but copper coil. But somebody said we have to use only Launi. It had to be only Launi to make Feni. So we said, no, we can also make an amendment and put. So GI is not a static body, but you have to make sense before you go forward. Because in the end, we also understand that the industry has to grow forward. We cannot remain in the past. Tomorrow, somebody wants to export a Feni to America. He's going to be asking me, I want 2 container loads. Will Feni say I can produce only 5,000 liters? No. We have to be able to produce. So we have to look at innovation to go forward. But it has to make sense. I can't say I'm bringing cashews from Maharashtra. After 5 days decide to process it and the Feni quality comes out bad. Because our credibility, please understand, we're only talking, GI is only about credibility. If we are talking about Feni being such a good product and you want that price, it damn well be credible in the eyes of the consumer. That is what we're talking about.
Ansel, I have a question. The variety of cashew that is most popular in Goa for the cashew fruit is from? No, we have a Vengurla. No, we're not most popular. But South side is not Goa. It is a part of Goa, and Bharades and Penna are also very important parts of Goa to the dismay of all the people, all the Shastris in the audience. But we can't look at it in such a partisan way. So, you know, the Vengurla trees, sir, we are using a plant which is Vengurla. We brought it over and now we're getting our fruit from that.
So today we got cheetahs from Africa that have now become Indian cheetahs. So we'll let that debate rest. So it's Vengurla cashews from the Konkan.
No, let me, the cheetahs, if it went from Tanzania to Kenya, allow it.
Okay, wait.
We are talking about, what is the line on the map?
No, so geography indicator. Sadly, our GI laws are defined according to political boundaries. Vengurla is part of the geography of Konkan, which is similar to that. So it's fine, Konkan cashews in the Konkan of Goa, that is fine.
So which brings us to our initial question. GI tagging, good or bad? Good. No, but now you're excluding, when you cross the border at Terrakol,
yeah,
and you go across, the only difference is there's a rope hung across.
No, but technically, please, we don't, Goa does not use cashews from Maharashtra officially because excise is sitting next to me. We are not allowed to use cashews from another state.
No, for GI tagging.
For any purpose. Any purpose.
So I'm just saying that.
For any purpose. No Feni comes from across the border.
But there is Feni coming up. We all know that cashews are being grown. No, it's an honest forum.
No.
Let's spill the beans.
No, yeah. Commissioner, Assistant Commissioner.
He cannot be a part of it.
He cannot be part of it.
You cannot be a part of it. But it so happens that
he doesn't know.
The border of Goa is a line on the map. Okay, the cashew tree doesn't respect it. You can have a tree with half the tree in Maharashtra, half the tree in Goa. The seed will fall over there, it will grow there. Is it different from the Goa cashew?
No, I think.
No, we'll have to make an amendment.
To have cashew from Goa itself.
Yes.
For it to have GI, because otherwise it will just be blurring the lines with a lot of different things.
So is GI good or bad? That is the real question.
See, right now in the initial stages, we are also understanding. Like I am also understanding.
What is
Right
it?
now, there are a lot of positives. Obviously, great, but rules will obviously things will come, changes will come, amendments will come, and finally, maybe in the next 2 years, we'll reach a definition, and we'll finally have a proper set of rules. And we have to then, once we follow that, then we can take it any way we want. See, this conversation about casuals coming from across, all of these agri-tech, all of these discussions we are having is to promote Goa cashew, yield in our cashews. If we are going to get from other states, we are not going to try to better ourselves at all.
No.
See, Walpoi cashew, I think the best cashews are in Walpoi. Some people will beg to differ with me, but I ate the cashew. It was beautifully tasty, much better than the oranges smaller variety in Bengal, which you might require more to produce the same amount of cashew filling.
Correct. The point being that this the division which we have, it's a line on the map, pretty much.
India works on division.
It does. It does work on division. So now tell me that if I am a small batti owner, I have a single barn batti outside in my backyard. I have a small garden. I've got 12 cashew trees, and I regularly go out. I gather my cashew and I distill feni from them. Do you think that it's going to be worth my while at any point in time?
Yeah.
No. Just whatever I make is for my own consumption, friends and family. Okay. I personally think that industry, okay, so will die because the process involved in getting licenses and everything else becomes unfeasible. And I would also suggest a workaround that we have a certain limit which is duty permission free. A very small limit, 500 liters, 1000 liters.
See, every you cannot keep.
What you said, first I comment that GI tag. GI tag is right now it is very good, and if you want Feni to be recognized across globe, then it is very much required. We were in hurry to get this GI tag because if we not Goa, then other state would have already got it. That's why we were in hurry.
Absolutely.
And the policy was open to all. Though it has been framed, but it was open to all for so many months.
Right.
For suggestion and all that. Still, there can be suggestion.
And it's still open to
Yeah,
amendment, which
it's
is very
still-
heartening.
yeah.
That if anybody we have a point of view, we can take it up and push it forward.
Yeah,
Okay.
that must be
That's
some.
wonderful.
If you want to export Feni,
Right.
for example, US, Germany, there is certain norms put by that country.
Importing country.
Yeah, importing country,
Right.
wherein it is required. If it is GI tag, then they will give a price accordingly.
Correct.
Only Feni, if it was not a GI tag, then
Yeah.
that may be not a good recognition for it.
Yeah, no, so I'm not. Of course, there are different markets. The export market. Please, sorry, Hansel.
Mr. Kurgankar has brought an interesting thing. Now, everyone is talking. Two people brought interesting things. One, he said, if I'm a small producer, is it feasible? Ladies and gentlemen, see what's happening as of this year in Champagne region of France. Moët Chandon and Veuve Clicquot were having huge problems simply because these two essentially buy grapes from everybody around. All the producers, you got 12 trees, you got 24 trees, you supply it to Moët Chandon, they'll make Moët Hennessy, they'll make the champagne. For the first time, independent producer says, I'm not going to supply you, I'm going to make my own champagne. And they've come out with a new category called artisanal champagne. And those are more expensive than Moët Chandon. For the first time, this change has actually happened. Because it's not feasible to supply it. They want to have independent producers, independent cockiness, and they're very expensive. There's one brand already available in Goa, François de Dubois. The next thing, if we want to export Feni, now this is something very contentious. It changed yesterday. Yesterday, for the first time in history, please listen to what I'm saying. First time in history, a GI Cashew Feni was launched in the world. First time, correct? Which means, henceforth, if Goa has to export Feni, there's only one GI Feni. All Feni does not become GI. All Feni is not Feni because they do not follow the process. If you walk into Cancun, if you walk into Perene and see how they make it, it is not fit for human consumption. People are using oil drums, people are using, just see the hygiene XYZ. So if I'm going to be exporting a container load of Feni, which is not quality of Feni,
I'm going to export it to Germany. Tomorrow, some German guy comes and does an expose on what's happening in Cancun and Perne or any other place. The whole credibility will go down. So technically, as of now, if you are living in Mexico, you can only sell GI certified tequila. You can't sell any agave, and that is what has happened from today. As of today, there's only one. Technically, there's only one brand that can export Feni. Rest can only sell Cashew spirit.
That's a shocker.
About the smaller butties and all of this. That I'll give you a small example.
It's open to everyone. No, it's open to everyone. As Mr. Korgankar just said, it's open to everyone. No. It's open to. No. What happened yesterday? See, don't shoot me, but this is the GI framework of the country. I did not make these rules. This is the government of India. What is actually clearly said is, it is open to everyone. You fulfill the rules, you will be able to be achievable. And this is what the government of India said. Ladies and gentlemen, the biggest criticism the association has got, and all of us, Cashew Feni as an industry has got, Mr. Korgankar will be testament to that, is why are you not taking GI? Mr. Bhakta, myself, Mac, Regan, all of us have been breaking ahead because we know what's going to happen. You're not only open for scrutiny, you also have to be ready for what's going to happen the next when you open that door. And that's why we took so long to get the house in order. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not a free for all. Everyone has to understand you have to keep your house in order before you go. Scotch has done that. Tequila has done that. It's not any Mexican who wears a hat can say, I'm going to make mezcal or tequila. You have to follow those rules. And as Mr. Korgankar said, as GI Cell in Chennai has said, as FDA said, it's open to everyone. Please follow this thing and then go. So if you want to export Feni today, I did not make this rule. So today Casulo cannot export. I have to sell Cashew spirit. I have to follow excise mandate because there's only one GI. The rest all Cashew spirit.
So it's only nomenclature.
It is GI now.
No, but GI is nomenclature.
Yes.
At the end of the day, your product in your bottle.
Scotch is nomenclature.
No. The product in the bottle is the same thing.
Scotch is nomenclature. Please, I hope you'll agree. Scotch is nomenclature. Mezcal is nomenclature. Pisco is nomenclature. It is all nomenclature.
No, your product is already meets GI standards.
Casulo is not GI. Casulo is not a GI.
You don't have GI yet, but you follow the GI standards.
I follow GI standards.
So my point is,
I have only apply now.
You only have to
It's
apply.
open to me. So
yeah,
I have to apply.
So that's what I'm saying. It's open to you.
Yes.
It's just that certificate has to come in. That's all.
I have to apply. No, I have to comply. No, sir. It doesn't have to. I have to apply.
Yeah.
You have to apply.
And the 5 bodies will come and.
So it's a big process. It takes 8 months.
8 months, 1 year, whatever it takes. But somebody who's following all those processes already, but hasn't applied,
Needs to start.
Assume he doesn't want to because of the lack of transparency. You don't want to say, you were talking earlier about to get a label registered. Sir also told us that it's problematic. Servers are down. This is that's another can of worms.
So there's a cashew nut producer just leaving the room sadly, but I was going to make a point. Cashew nuts in Goa, big problem. Cashews coming from Maharashtra, from Vietnam, from Africa, everywhere. It's a huge problem. They're selling, you go to the airport, and I made a big issue in the airport, they're selling Goan cashew nuts made in Malvan. The fellow is not even a Goan, not even registered in Goa, and he's putting Goan cashew nuts. And that is the big problem. So Feni has to, see in the end, if Goa has to reap the benefit, if an ex-distiller, see when you follow these laws, you know what the price of GI Feni is going to be? Raw Feni, we are expecting it to hit 750 rupees. You ask any IMFL producers making 750 ml for production, impossible. And that's what it is. In the end, the barkeeper has to make that money. You're making 12, you got 12 cashew trees, multiply 5,000 into 750. Barkeeper has to make money.
And which brings us to another point that respect for the person, for a Kaskar, has to come. Right now,
Only
the
the
prices
price.
stayed abysmal. A tin of cashew, which is about 10 to 12 kilos, they'll spend a whole day gathering, 5 or 6 tins and it sells for 25 or 30 rupees per tin. Why will anybody do that? So unless we have that price increase that you're talking
So
about.
you only pay price if you know your product is coming from if sourcing there's traceability, there's traceability from fruit to bottle. And that is what the GI does. Traceability. If India is going to put its neck out and say this is the champagnes of Feni, we have to India has to say, yes, I have, Mr. Korgankar has to be, agreeable. Yes, I checked this distillery. I know auction is taken by Mr. Kaskar. Kaskar has taken auction. Kaskar has got a bottling facility certified. He's giving production reports. He's kept ABCD. Now excise is certifying that this is Feni. How can excise certify Kazulo? I'm just saying, can excise certify Kazulo? No. You cannot.
So I think an important thing that we should be looking at is state of origin. Like we have country of origin. If we have state of origin, what? Whether it's the Kundi sari, whether it is the cashew nut, whether, whatever, we have a label. Like you have a country of origin label. Maybe a state of origin label is one of the points which we should be looking at. If you have state of origin that is made here, different categories of categorization, so to speak.
Now we need amendments.
Yeah, we will need amendments. Absolutely. We have to have because right now the policy has been brought up by 5 people.
No, please, we didn't make the policy. No, please.
Okay,
No,
people
no,
sitting in Delhi.
it was open to the state. I did not make the Goa University made the policy.
Okay.
Goa University, we were only.
So we all know how
We
much,
rejected it
how much
twice.
the academics know about
We
failure.
rejected twice. Ladies and gentlemen, Science and Technology.
Right.
Failure
So-
Association rejected the policy twice. Please, we take it on record. Please take it on record. We rejected it twice because it was not good. Finally, we accepted it. Finally, with this, so please don't put 5 of us.
No, sorry. Okay, so I withdraw that. But as Mahisa said, it was done because we wanted to get that GI tag before somebody else grabbed a hold of it. Like India registered Basmati before USA grabbed Basmati. The people in the US were actually trying to grab the Basmati GI tag. So hats off to you guys for taking it forward. But now I think we have to get the amendments and the process for amendments sorted out. Because otherwise it's going to be very divisive for all of us in the
We have only followed Government of India laws. We have not made the laws. Please, Cashew Feni Association has not defined any laws. We are only implemented. That's why it took so many years to implement Government of India's laws. I know it is not palatable to a lot of people. It's not palatable to me as well. Today, Kazulo can't export. Kazulo has to follow the rules.
No, so what you're saying about the separation between cashew spirit and Feni, at the end of the day you have to follow XYZ rules which you already followed. But for the smaller guy, if he has a state of origin Goa, even for the cashew nut, state of origin Goa, that certification
He has to follow Government of India rules. XYZ.
No, so I'm saying that in terms of putting a state of origin label, like what's
It means
the other
nothing.
one?
No, it means nothing. You
No,
have to
no,
follow.
I'm
Government says
talking
to
about
follow.
saying state of origin.
No, it does not matter. Government says, please, product of India, that is already defined. Yeah. It's already defined. Government of excise says you must put product of India distilled in.
No, I understand that. But where we are talking about cashew nuts, for example, where it's coming from Malvan.
That comes
and-
under GI. That is GI traceability. That's another thing. That's a totally different thing. But what see the challenge, I'm sorry, Mr. Palikar and a lot of people, I was also dismayed when this happened. We knew what was happening. Now we have to keep it quiet because we know if we talk about it before, Mr. Excise Department's entire plan that is happening for like so many years is going to go out of the window because people will revolt. And this is not his, and you can't blame him. It's Government of India. GI Cell Chennai has decided this. That is what the basis of Darjeeling tea is. Basis of a chicken from I can't get material, go to China and make chicken and say this is Indian chicken. This is made in Lucknow. You have to have traceability. So I know it is difficult, but the point is very clear, as Mr. Gorgankar himself said just now. It's open for everyone. If you want to do it, please do it. And I must tell you, the one gentleman who's sitting in this group on this audience today, who's applied for the Cashew Feni Association, has met the rules of the Cashew Feni Association first, and that's the first thing to become get GI. That is again not my rule, central government's rule. If you want to get a GI, please apply to the association first. Then, once you meet the criteria of association, then you have to meet the criteria of GI. Take auction, do this, follow all the paperwork. Then you can go forward. There's one fellow, and he's very keen on applying for GI. He's very clean. So it's what you must understand. The number 2 GI will not come to Kazula. It's going to probably go to him. And you must understand that is the greatness of this thing. As 5 people, we could have made the rules for ourselves. We have very clearly said we're not making the rules for ourselves. We're keeping the rules to everyone. As harsh as it might sound, today I cannot apply for it unless I meet that criteria.
Okay.
So, quick question to you regarding nomenclature, so to say. So you say that only a Feni that is certified by the GI tag can be called a Feni, and all other Fenis are basically cashew spirit, even though it is the same product. But don't you think that's very, very harsh in terms of policy? Should we have in that aspect? If you look at mezcal or tequila, they have 3 very basic classifications when it comes to even under to call it tequila. There is artisanal, there is ancestral, and there is industrial. So, firstly, if this is the only way we can do it, that really limits innovation, as Anant was saying. So, when it comes to policy, we need an amendment, something like this, where it's classified according to how it's produced, and that is how it's graded. Not debarring a local farmer from calling it Feni just because he doesn't conform to very, very strict rules that are in some ways not implemented by all. That's what we can agree. But in that aspect, even just this is in my personal experience as well, traversing the state and trying different Fenis from different verticals. Yes, I agree that it needs to be standardized. Yes, but there are some people that can produce a beautiful Feni with a bamboo coil rather than a wood
Bamboo coil?
bamboo pipe than a
That's allowed. That's allowed.
So exactly. So all of these things, these slight modifications
No,
to
have you read the GI policy?
yes, I have.
So GI policy allows all these. You can put a bamboo coil, you can put a copper coil, you can use lavani. I must tell you, we've not spent 1 day or 2 days. Mr. Korgaonkar knows we've spent years looking at the GI policy to make it open for everyone. So the smallest guy, Mr. Bhakta, as president, I'm not being psychophantic, but Mr. Bhakta has been very clear. It is not meant for the big boys. It is meant for the smallest guy who's got 12 cashew trees. So every step of the way we have looked at that, number one. Number two, the classifications within cashew feni, sadly, I came much later in the industry. Laws, the GI for feni was already done before I came. The laws were already established for what GI can be. The law for the association is also made what it is. There's no classification. There's only botanical fenis and there is pure fenis available. And if you take botanical, you have to get permission. And if you're using aging, you have to get excise permission. Only then can you become aged feni. Very clear laws. Read is crystal clear. If we want to put differentiation like Mexico, we have to go and start the process again. And that is what we want. Now, I'll tell you, besides all that, I don't repeat the process. Mr. Korgaonkar, as excise department, has to give a report card. Not only him, FDA. FDA, when we made that representation to the government in 2018, Mr. Bhakta and I, FDA said, we're giving you 5 years. I must tell you guys, this is a very serious thing. We didn't open this up to everyone. Few people know. FDA chairman of India told us, I'm giving you 5 years. The way you all are making feni is not considered food grade. You all are using your feet. Your cashews are picked up from the ground. You tell me which industry allows you to pick up cashews from the ground and process it to eating food. He said, I'm giving you 5 years to get your industry organized. We've asked now, it's been more than almost 10 years, but he's given us only 5 years to, he said, even Ayurveda has upgraded themselves. They used to take one tablet, I remember his exact words. There was a tablet that was kept between 2 layers of cow dung, and then it was considered great. He said, we have to stop the process. As much as your tradition is great, but food grade has to be no cow dung. So that is how industry will ask, because they're going international. So, number one, the job of the excise is to increase revenue, which GI Feni will give, number one. Number two, because you're getting that price and you're the only person allowed, right now only one person is allowed to do, next there'll be 3-4 people wanting to come, which means more accountability, which the government wants. FDA wants to be accountable. Excise wants to be accountable how much you're producing. Today ask the excise, do they know how much Feni is being produced? No. Because how many people are coming back and writing, I produced this much? Is the auction value going up? No. Because everyone is going for a sealed tender. Excise know these things. In the end, we're trying to grow the industry holistically. And that is what GI will do. Automatically, every GI person who's taking an auction has the potential of exporting.
Sansel, is there place for the cow dung tablet and the non-cow dung?
No. Not me. It's according to FDA.
No. So I'm saying, can there be space? Because both are value.
No, you ask the FDA. I mean, I'm not a government person who defines the laws. So in this case, you have to see in the end, gentlemen, ladies, I've spent 5 years of my life splitting here. That's why I'm great today, discussing with excise and government issues, government departments, and understanding the GI tools core. It is a very big step India has taken. It's the first GI spirit from the country. You think the country is going to stick its neck out with someone distilling in a drum in Kanpur? Or someone bringing cashews from Maharashtra, we don't know where the cashews are coming from? You think government of Goa Chief Minister is going to open up a bottle and say, I don't know where this cashews feni is coming from? Impossible. It has to be proper feni. So this is a very serious thing. And that's why exports will only be when the government can stick its neck out and say, yes, I'm selling you a product that is internationally credible. That is what it is. And that is why I know people who are, there are people who are sitting very quietly, who have been working very hard with increasing the process. And it's not 5 of us who are working. I must tell you, some people might not have asked. But a lot of people who are not part of the association, who've been following, big industrialists, have been watching this policy very silently and also have followed this process. And I'm telling you today, big industrialists will, I've got 2 applications to the association. One is passed. The second one is yet to pass because we have to have a meeting. We're busy with the festival. I got an application on Thursday from a very big industrialist who's now going to apply for Cashew Feni Association. The game has changed. The days of the bottlers are over. The game has changed.
That's food for thought, folks. Now we leave that because this discussion, good, bad, I still don't see resolution. Of course, we accept whatever Axel has said, we accept what Anand says, whatever Harsh says, that there is good and there is bad like in everything. Now the other game changer which I feel is going to hit, which I'm going to put to all of y'all, the biggest manufacturer of cashew nut and hence cashew fruit apple is not where it used to be. It's now to the east of us. But Vietnam and Cambodia have reached, in terms of numbers, they have surpassed Africa. I mean, you can't take Africa as a whole. If you take a country, and this is a 20-year-old industry over there, they have surpassed us. The yield per acre is fantastic, but they haven't made cashew spirit. Because when they make it, they will not be allowed to qualify. It's a huge threat to us because the yield is more than double of what we have. The sugar content of their fruits or the amount of alcohol that they need, the quantity they need is again much more. So how do we safeguard ourselves? Is it a threat? Or do we live in our little silo? We are in Goa, we are making Kenya, we are making the best Kenya in the world. When somebody will come along and disprove that. So please.
I'll start with. See, really, we need to have more attention to this because I put some facts, what we notice,
right.
What we come across. Every time when we auction any zone, we have altogether around 1,500 zones, but only 60% of zones are productive. The rest are just taken for the sake of taking, for the land protection and all that. And the entire grow is just go in vain. There is labor charges to collect. That's why some farmer can't afford it.
Right.
So that is the reason. And the main reason, every year when we auction, subsequently we receive one application, 1 or 2 subsequent application wherein they ask to forfeit their auction fee because the cashew grow has caught fire. So it is not protected. Entire cashew grow got fire because of that grass coming out and because it is a seasonal and once that initially the grow is destructed, then there is no point. That entire season goes. So this is the there are some protection we need to give as a government, as a corporation. They have to record it. Then comes the question of collective farming, wherein corporation can think over it that some farmers, as you said, they can't afford and they can't go ahead with distillation or juice extraction only because they don't have that manpower or that much money. So corporation, if thinks they can do it. To cater to the needs of global, what we grow is very less here. It doesn't only fulfill the needs of our local community. So if at all we want to go across and to compete with the African state, we have to come up with more yields.
Yeah.
And with God's grace, we have got that, as he said, some foods are so much tasty. And you don't have to add anything to that to give a good product. There are some barren lands in mining belts wherein corporation or government should think for it to grow more.
Increased production.
Increased production. Exactly.
So keeping that in mind, the GI tag is very favorable to keeping that.
Yes, there is one more point I have to make clear that central government has a scheme and the application is still running in the finance department in NRS, wherein I came to know that they have asked for two products basically from Goa, wherein Goa government has to recommend it for export. So while discussing with one of the joint secretary, I came to know this, all these GI policies, and that is still pending. And then I immediately said, it, why not Cashew Feni?
Yes.
To recommend to the state, the central, as one of the product
To export.
to export. Wherein the export, now say the export, the procedure and the financial implication is so much more that we won't be able to get that much returns.
Return on.
So if government, central government allows us certain schemes over that, then it can be done. So I urge
Feni makers
Feni Makers Association to
pursue.
follow it
Yeah.
up with the government if that can be done, to recommend one of the products. Only 2 products have been asked for, so Cashew Feni can be one of the products.
So that is fantastic, sir. If that happens, and we get Cashew Feni as one of these, one of the 2 products which will get government support, trade fair participation. You know, all of these things which will come when we are a recognized government export. The other thing which I would also request the Feni Makers Association and Ansel as treasurer, have a subcategory of membership. You get people who want to work for the industry but don't fulfill the needs of membership.
Please write to us and ask us to do that. We'll do that.
Consider it done.
No, write it. Don't tell me. Write it. Write a formula, please. Yeah, last question.
One question. No, we are just finishing the Vietnam conversation. I was in Vietnam, and thankfully they are not yet making penny, but they're making cashew wine.
Right.
They're making cashew wine 3 to 6% alcohol, and people are making it at home. Different processes. Obviously, we have the advantage of having a know-how of now centuries. Yes, right. Like how Brazil does it with sugarcane. In spite of them getting sugarcane from us, they are doing so much more.
We took cashew from
And
them.
we took cashew from them, and we are doing so much more. Right. But we have already a head start.
Right.
And right now, these festivals like this have given us a push, and we cannot stop here.
Right.
Right? We may have, disagreements between us, but at the end, we are all working towards one single goal, and that should be the main process. Like, I know we are running out of time, but also with respect to the excise, I'm sure at the top level, a lot of decisions are being made.
Right.
But also, I personally visit the excise office a lot for a lot of things, maybe
Right.
renewals, a lot of things, label registrations. What I see is the staff at the excise is busy doing a lot of clerical work, which can definitely, sir, you also understand, sometimes signing 1,000, 2,000 transport permits in the morning, every single day. And like people who visit the excise office know how cumbersome this is. They have to sign each and every page. And there is, on the excise website, there is a digital transport permit. All of these things are there. Can we implement that so that the excise officials who are sitting at a lower level also have that much time to put into this? Because only once they start visiting these farms, that's when quality control starts coming. When people are scared of, oh, inspection is going to come, that time things, only when relatives come, people start keeping the house in order. It's like that. It's true. If the low
Point
excise,
taken. Point taken.
excise officials
Now,
get the time.
we have pressure, as you said, we are running out of time, not just for the discussion, but we are running out of time before Vietnam, Africa, everybody jumps onto our back and we are about, so to speak. But closing, we'll start from this end.
I think
A short
one last question.
Sorry, please, Karan.
Mr. Golgaonkar, so when I apply for my next label, do I have to say Feni or do I have to say Cashew Spirit? Next week when I apply for a label, what do I need to put on?
This happened yesterday. So
Next week?
no. I'm saying this happened. What happened? Groundbreaking thing happened yesterday. So allows the excise. I'm sure the excise is going to have a lot of questions from all you guys. We're going to have to be talking again about how to take the thing forward. We have to cross the bridge when we reach it. So you've got 1 more year left to renew your license. So you can we have 1 year to do this.
If I have a new brand and I want to make a label tomorrow.
So now we'll have to follow excise this thing.
So I'm asking the question, what is it?
As of yesterday, it's implemented.
We'll put that on hold for now because since it only happened yesterday, it will take time for the policy to be who's allowed, who's not allowed. But as soon as it's done, we'll make it public.
Gentlemen, don't get scared. We already have a plan. Don't worry. Cashew Feni Association has already thought about this.
That
Don't stress.
me a lot of worry when somebody tells me, don't worry.
Don't stress, guys. And what I'm telling you, please don't stress. We've already thought about it. See, in the end, we are on the firing line. Mr. Bhakta, myself, Mac, all of us, and these guys are going to be in the firing line. We can't ask them to make. We have to make the plan ready for you guys. And don't look at us as enemies. We've already thought of plan B for you guys. For me, including me, who's in the same boat.
Excise is open for all.
Exactly, excise is open. Excise is open
for all.
Yeah, but it has to go through a proper channel. We've already made plan B, so don't worry, don't stress. Plan B is there, but that has to go through a proper channel.
So in closing, any So I must, the service that Mr. Mahesh Golkar has done to all of us over here, and lots of people who are not here, you know, he's superintendent excise, but he relates to us and takes the trouble to sit down and understand, which you know, a big round of applause to him. You know, to Anand for pushing Cashew Feni and, you know, Feni out there when nobody else was doing it at the level that he was doing it. A Daipa that became very hip again. A round of applause. And Kasturi for bringing her expertise of where she's taken Makazai single-handedly and continues to make it grow. And of course to Hansel, you know, the Don. The godfather of the God. And also, you know, we stand on the shoulders of Gurudat Bakhtar, Mac and Cedric's father, Valentine Vaz and Reagan Hendricks, and you know, all of these guys who have really done tremendous service and continue to do so even if they are not here. You know, a big hand I request you for all of them who have really taken Feni to where it is today and continue to be there, and we just follow along and, you know, try and give our support as much as we can. Thank you all for coming in. Thanks so much. So, Mr. Nandakumar Parab, who's very graciously given us this platform. I mean, as you know, Chief Officer of the Goa Forest Department, the support he's given Cashew Fest to make it happen and support the discussions like this. Thank you, sir.
Due to time constraint, we will conclude this session here. With this, we conclude our second session this day. We extend our sincere gratitude to all the speakers for making this session a great success. Now I request Shri Amar Haivlekar, General Manager GFDC, to present a token of memento to our speaker as a token of love. Shri Hansel Vaz. Kasturi Banerjee. Mr. Clayman Bisimla. I thank everyone for your wholehearted participation. Thank you. I request for a group photograph. I request for a group photograph. Okay, sir, please.